Shalom Israel, first and foremost, everyone give all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Ba'Shem Kakadash, the one to the apostles, and else great millstone of Jesus is true, peace, and blessings to the hope like Israel. Yahweh is the name of that fallen Hebrew, Ba'Shem is the name, and Yahweh Shai is the name of the Meon Son. Back in our lesson, and as seen on the title, we're going to be going to these devils are getting ready to crack down, getting ready to come down with that great wrath as you get in Revelations 12 and 12. So just going to show the type of times that we are coming into and how you're going to have this devil, dealing with Esau, be pulling out all stops, especially coming to the times of Jacob's trouble. And his main target is going to be Israel, the 12 tribes. This is who, he's going to be targeting and, is targeting. But came across this lesson from one of the brothers, GMS, Kansas City. And I saw the other brother going into this article right here. It says, where the C-hip implants are heading should terrify all of us. And you already see the many advancements this devil has been making, especially behind the scenes. They'll put certain things within shows or, TV shows, cartoons, movies of, things that they have. For example, a geostorm, where they're able to manipulate the weather. They show you this one particular scene in Invincible, which is, pretty much regarding, spiritual power within that movie. But they have a satellite that, is able to, shoot down a laser beam. And on that satellite, it had 144 on it. So, these devils know. They have super soldiers, and they're especially wanting to pretty much, create cyborgs, transhumanism, connecting people, with technology. And you see this image right here in the background is RoboCop. I made a lesson a while back. You had the police force have been given authorization to use killer robots, and I believe they did damage control on that and switched up the wording so this only in dire situation or the case was. But they'll especially have things like this, especially when they introduce this C-hip, as you see in the title, says where C-hip implants are heading should terrify all of us. You also see all the promises that they're making for you to take this thing, all the things that you'll be able to do, and the things that it will fix. People that are blind, be able to see. People that are paralyzed, be able to walk again. These are the promises, as well as the various things we're going to read right here. And ultimately, we're going to go into what this is ultimately leading up to. This devil getting ready to, crack down, getting ready to tighten that grip. I do make sure my voice is on, just to be sure. Okay. As the recent advancements in neural and bio-integrated C-hip implants have sparked widespread discussion about their potential to transform human capabilities with application. And you best believe those have been exploring all this stuff behind the scenes, because people are going to call us crazy for saying they have super soldiers and they have robots and all these, various things. But it comes to the last days, especially in times of Jacob's trouble, still doesn't say F it. And bring out all stops. Things that you thought would only be in sci-fi like movies is gonna be a reality. And this is exactly why that standard is gonna be lifted against our enemy. Why Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai is bestow spiritual power upon His elect, which we pray that we're a part of. Look at everything that devil has. The things he's getting ready to come down with. I made a lesson a while back, just like a little over a week ago maybe, where you had this one particular robot that was pretty much created to chase. It was put on a treadmill and you see how fast it was going. There's a reason why that spiritual power is needed, why a divine intervention will be needed. The Lord's going to step in. But it says to transform human capabilities with applications ranging from medical breakthroughs to cybernetic enhancements, reminiscent of science fiction, and that's Spirit's brought up that point. But it says right here to breakthroughs to cybernetic enhancements. You especially see they have, Iron Man like suits of armor, exoskeleton suits were able to lift immense amount of weight, and they're saying this right here, the C-hips could give you your cybernetic enhancements, able to make you stronger, think faster, There's a report titled From Brain Bluetooth to Full RoboCop, or CHIP implants will be heading soon, published by The Conversation, explores the trajectory of this technology, highlighting both its promise and its ethical complexities. As drawing on insights from multiple news sources, the article examines the current state of CHIP implants and the projected future, weaving together perspectives on innovation, societal impact, and the challenges ahead. So this is the reason for all this. This devil is, fast tracking towards stuff, and really speaking on the military, things that they're doing, and what the devil's getting ready to do. Because they're obviously not going to be given superhuman capabilities to everyone, but definitely to the people in power, authority. What's the night about that point dealing with the military and all this stuff, all these robots being pulling out, and these super soldiers, these robo-cops. You best believe be seeing things like that. So as I brought up point in one of my other lessons, if you're seeing these robot dogs on the market, on sale, having flamethrowers attached to them and all these different stuff, imagine the things that they have behind the scenes if they're selling this to the public. Most of the people are gonna call us crazy. They're gonna mock. They're gonna scoff, saying, us saying they have super soldiers, robot, Iron Man like suits of armor and all this different stuff. But they don't see. And there's a part I was wanting to go into regarding that right there. Dang, those will come back to me. But people are mocking, scoffing, calling us crazy. But these are things that they're gonna happen. Will be, brought back to which I think came back to me. They're obviously not gonna show you, the best of the best, the trump card per se, things that they got. But they will show you with certain events that they hold to, showcase certain events with dealing with robots and all this stuff, and especially show you within movies, cartoons, TV shows, as I was about to point up earlier. Okay, let's continue on. Now it says, I'll probably read a little bit more into it and get these scripts at hand. Don't make this too long of a lesson. But the Conversation report outlines how CHIP implants are evolving beyond simple medical devices such as cochlear, if I'm saying it correctly, implants, or pacemakers, into sophisticated systems capable of interfacing directly with the brain or enhancing physical abilities. And people are thinking this is too far out. You best believe the devil has things like this already. Listen, there's a reason why Yahweh Shema Shai will bestow power upon his elect. Why a standard is going to be lifted. And that power is not going to be given for nothing. But this is, so neural implants often, neural implants often dubbed brain Bluetooth are being developed to treat neurological disorders like Parkinson's disease or epilepsy by modulating brain activity. And these are the promises. There's a pushing that you'll be pretty much healed. You're getting scriptures how people will be deceived and tempted into taking this thing. Because they're going to be performing these miracles on the left-hand side through this technology. And I'll probably just read this last part right here. Companies like Neuralink are pushing boundaries further, aiming to create brain-computer interfaces that can enable direct communication between the human brain and external devices. And you kind of see an example of that. Whereas one woman that's pretty much unable to speak, and she's able to think of a sentence, and that sentence would be pretty much translated on screen. And I'll read these last two bit because this right here looks decent. As a recent Reuters article noted, Neuralink progress is testing implants that allow paralyzed individuals to control digital interfaces using only their thoughts. So there you go. With clinical trials showing early success in restoring limited motor functions, beyond medical applications, CHIP implants are venturing into the realm of human augmentation. Transhumanism. But now let's get the scripture at hand. 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. Now it says, "Lest Satan should advantage us, for we are the ignorant of his devices." We see, what this devil's playing at, and it's, things he's doing, especially Slakia, with things that he has. The Revelation chapter 12 verse 12, you can see right through it. They'll show you these little advancements that they make, at these certain events regarding robots and many things. Which they'll, I believe Elon Musk, held a event where they showcased those robots that look like humans. And you see many other examples, but that's just a little sprinkle, a little taste of what they got, and we're able to see through that, especially through the lies and the deceit, this devil. Revelation 12:12. Especially with what this is ultimately leading up to, what the devil's getting ready to do is just crystal clear. They're not making these things for nothing. Was just wanting to tie that point together. Now, Revelation chapter 12 verse 12, which is really the main point, as is therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So the devils know his time is running out. The clock is ticking. So very soon he's gonna say F it and just crack down. He knows his time's running out. This is why you especially see him getting sloppy. That's why he's getting caught red-handed for things he's doing, has done. But that main point, going to that great wrath he's getting ready to come down with, man. Go back to the title, as those getting ready to crack down. We best believe me seeing these robots, patrolling the streets, these super soldiers, especially when these devils declare martial law and begin to tighten that grip. To establish that control. Every point on all stops, man. Especially in the time of Jacob's trouble, man. And you already know who the main target is. Because you already know how this devil has been wanting to depop this place for a good minute. Going to that Georgia Guidestone, which the brother also brought up that point. You want to listen? So this has been their plan for a while now. And you best believe they could use, these things to do it. Doing these robot dogs, these robots, these, RoboCops per se. These cyborgs, super soldiers. Call it crazy and microscope all you want, but hey, you're gonna see it. Jeremiah 30:7. That's why you also get in Ezekiel 33 and 33. How do you know that a prophet has been among you? Now it says, last for that day is great, so none is like it, even in time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. So we're heading in the time of our trouble. But going to the top of the verse, the last day is great, so none is like times like never before. But it says, even in the time of Jacob's trouble, and really specifically speaking, of the wicked of our people, but those from his faith and his truth will be tried, will be tested. It's not me no walk in the park, man. But a little gotcha is over here, but he shall be saved out of it. At about that point, that power is going to be needed for a reason. Now, 2 Timothy 3 verse 1 now says this, now also that in the last days perilous times shall come. And we go into that word perilous because it's a terrible, dark, troublesome times, man. So this is why if you're, without the hedge, with the protection of Yahweh Shema Shai, you're through. Plainly put, especially with the things the devil's getting ready to do. Get ready to come down with. This is Psalm 17:13. And just go back to that video I brought up, dealing with that robot that was pretty much made to chase. And I believe the caption was, what are you gonna do if if this comes after you, or whatever the case was. And if without the Lord, without Yahweh Bashem Moshe, nothing. You're through. And you check that video on my channel. I believe you have it in the thumbnail. If you want to see that video. But it's crazy how fast it was running. That power was gonna be needed most definitely, man. But as I rise, the Lord disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked. Who is that wicked speed? If you get in Job 9:24, how the world is in the hand of the wicked. You get in Malachi 1:4. Speaking of Esau, Edom, which is labeled, called the border of wickedness, so showing who's that is speaking of, as well as Genesis 27th chapter. Going into Esau's blessing, which was the fatness of the earth, that was a sword. As I rise, Lord, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver myself from the wicked, which is thy sword. And the Lord's gonna be using this devil, to dish out a lot of that judgment, man. In the second verse 16 and 17, now it says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? Don't show how bad it's really gonna get, man. And why it's important to seek the Lord now, which I made less than a day or two ago. Titled, the spirit of urgency, man. Repent. That's the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? So just go show the type of times we're coming into and how bad it's really going to get. Now let's get these last two. It's Isaiah 59:19. Now it says, so shall feel the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising sun, when the enemy shall come in like a flood. So we read in Revelation 12, going into this great wrath to get ready to come down with. And we're especially reading right here, it says shall come in like a flood. And you see many examples within movies, like that one particular one I'm thinking about is Project Power with Jamie Foxx on Netflix. Spoiler alert, at the end of the movie, he's pretty much surrounded by a bunch of troops, but he turned up on them. They didn't stand no chance. Invincible. He's Omni-Man surrounded by a bunch of troops. And they were especially wearing, advanced, uniforms, suits, where they were the camouflage and all those types of stuff. They stood no chance. As the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against them, so that power is to be needed, and the Lord will lift up a standard against our enemy. Isaiah 54:17, close it out with this right here. Now it says, no weapon that's formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and the righteousness say to the Lord. Now it says, no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. So none of this devil has will be to work against the men of the Lord, the elect, which we won't pray that we're part of the Lord's will. But that's the point right there. We'll make let's go into that article and how it's definitely ready to crack down. It comes to very serious times, man. So seek the Lord now, because you do not want to be on the receiving end of these judgments the Lord's going to bring out. That's the point. Lord's edifying to close out. Give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Bashem, Al Shai, Bashem, Kakadash, and Shalom. See you next one. Lord's will.